Can you believe it? It is almost holiday time again. And with that realization comes some planning that we normally need to do to get fully ready for the holidays. However, if you are feeling perhaps a little overwhelmed, if you're nervous this year, if you've got some anxiety, or if you're feeling broke, stay tuned. This video is for you because we're going to talk about some ways that we can enjoy the holidays, reduce the stress, even when we're feeling nervous, overwhelmed, or broke. Hi, if we've not met before, I'm Shelley from Taming Frenzy. You know, the holidays bring a certain amount of stress at any time. Even in years that feel calm and normal, there's always a certain amount of holiday stress, if for no other reason than the fact that there are usually many more obligations and responsibilities and tasks on our to-do list. Things are busy this time of year, and that in and of itself adds to the stress that most people are going to feel. Now, some people absolutely live for the holidays. They eat, live, and breathe the holidays, and instead of feeling stressed, they feel invigorated. But for most of us mere mortals, we look for ways to reduce that stress in any year. However, nothing about this year feels normal or calm. If you've been to the grocery store lately, you've probably been just like me and you have felt sticker shock when you got to the register. Lots of people are feeling a very definite sense of uncertainty in the air, and overall the world feels topsy-turvy for lots and lots of people. And if you're not one of those people who's feeling those things, great. But keep in mind that there may be people around you who are feeling that, whether they're telling you about it or not. Now, the very first thing that I always recommend when anyone is looking to reduce stress or plan for the holidays or for anything actually, is to talk to your people. Now, when I say your people, that probably means your family, but it may mean your friends if you include friends in a lot of your holiday gatherings and things. But talk to your folks. Talk to them about the kind of things they want to do, the types of activities they want to participate in and continue or discontinue perhaps. Talk about gifts and budgets. Talking about budgets this year is extremely important. Set some limits and respect people's budgets and their desire to maybe cut down or even possibly forego gift giving entirely. Try not to make the holiday personal and for you to feel that anything that your family members might want to do differently is an attack on you, because it's not. Most likely that is caused by external factors that have nothing to do with you. It's always best to make decisions ahead of time, and of course the best thing is to reach a consensus with everyone who's going to be involved in the gathering. However, depending on how large your circle or your family is, you may or may not be able to get everybody to agree. But at least if everyone doesn't agree, at least inform people of any changes that you're going to make. If you have decided that you are not going to be spending money on gifts this year, or if you're going to be cutting back, let people know ahead of time. The worst time to get those surprises is actually at the holiday gathering itself. So my first tip then is to do any shopping you're going to do as early as possible. Now, after you've had that budget talk with people, y'all may have decided to severely cut back what is spent on gifts, if not to forgo them. Or you may have decided to do gifts, but scale them back. And in that case, consider some alternatives. Every gift does not need to be an item that you run out to the store and plunk down a lot of money, even though it makes retailers happy, and buy an actual physical object for people. You can always consider giving homemade, handmade gifts, giving food gifts. After all, everybody's got to eat. You could consider doing something like paying a bill or giving money to go towards a bill. You also might consider giving those generic gift cards. I don't remember what they're called exactly, but seems like a lot of times they're Visa or MasterCard that people can take and use at any store. You may tell yourself that your son or daughter is going to buy something that's wildly extravagant if that's the kind of gift you like to give, while they may take that same gift card and go use it to purchase groceries. That's okay. You also may want to consider doing the same item for everybody, doing bulk gifts, in other words. If you find something you think is ideal that would work for everybody, pick up several, especially if you find a really good deal. This may be the year to give things that they use regularly that they need. That will allow them to free their money up to spend on other necessities and things that they need to. And also, if you're someone who is going to be shipping gifts somewhere away, do that as early as possible. It seems like it's gotten where everything takes longer to arrive, and the last thing you really want to do is to be frustrated and annoyed, seriously, to the point where you are not enjoying things because you're standing in a long line with a million other people, it feels like, trying to get your items ready to be shipped. A second thing to consider is to plan holiday food early. Now, I would urge you to consider what are the things that you normally provide food to during the holidays. It may be that you do the entire holiday meal, depending on the size and the ages of family members and how many extended family members are involved. You may take something to a potluck family dinner every year. You may also take items to a work luncheon or a church gathering or some other type of gathering. So start thinking about all of the events and things that you need to provide food for. And then ask yourself, are there any of those that this is the year to opt out of? If not, you might consider bringing something different than you normally do. For example, you may be famous for your fudgy pecan pie. I make a fudgy pecan pie and it is delicious. But have you priced chocolate lately? It's bad. Pecans are not cheap either. So instead of a fudgy pecan pie to take to work, this may be the year to take a different pie. Now, people may think, gee, I wish you brought that this year, but they're not going to die if you brought a different pie. And if it makes a difference in your budget, especially when you consider all of the other things that you're going to be doing during this holiday season, it may be well worth it. That way you have that as an option instead of opting out altogether. Think about how you can change some of the things that you normally would serve if you're hosting or that you would take other places. And especially ask your family. You may find out that something that you serve every year because it's tradition is not something that's high on their list. This may be the perfect year, and they may have been hoping and praying that this would happen sometime. This may be the perfect year for you to drop that from the holiday menu. There's nothing wrong with that. Christmas is not necessarily about specific foods, although I admit that there are traditional foods that we all like to partake and enjoy at time of year. But there may be some that we decide that this is a year to make some substitutions and make some changes. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean the meal or the food will be any less delicious. Third, try not to overdo things this year. Now, I know that some folks absolutely love the holidays, and overdoing is just a word that they really don't even comprehend during this time of year. But the overdoing can be in relation to gifts, in relation to decorating, it can be in relation to food, any of those things. But we need to remember that this year, that excess that we love might be overwhelming for somebody. It might be what causes them to have some apprehension and some anxiety. This year, that excess that we love may make them or us feel overwhelmed to the point that we just don't want to do it. There is nothing wrong with making changes, and especially things that will make us or family members feel less overtaxed. And then lastly, plan any holiday outfits early. Now, I'm going to be honest, this particular tip doesn't apply to me at all. My family has never been one that dressed up and gussied up for Christmas. We've always been very casual. You show up to Christmas wearing whatever you want. Nobody cares. We're just glad to see you. However, I know that's not the case in every family. Some families have a much more formal Christmas Eve dinner or some other kind of holiday dinner where people do up a little more and they dress up more. And they may have felt in years past like they needed to get their hair done or their nails done or they needed to purchase a new garment. You don't have to do that. Also, you may still be working or have a husband who's still working, and there is a holiday function that you need to attend. And in years past, you may have always felt like, I need to get a new dress or something for that. You don't. Odds are people don't remember what you wore anyway, even if it was something, that you may think is very outstanding and memorable. Other people probably didn't pay that much attention. But even if they did, you can always accessorize something differently to make an outfit look different. And by thinking about those things early and by getting things together, you can reduce some of that stress for yourself as well as save some money by having those outfits ready to go so that you know what you need to wear and that you know what you're going to do so that you're not then at the last minute struggling and frustrated and feeling like I should have just gone and bought something new. Or even worse, so that you're not the week before thinking, okay, I'm just going to go out and buy something new and spending money that maybe you didn't need or want to. Plan those things early, know what you're going to wear, have the outfits prepared. Or better yet, do like my family does, and especially if it's something that's just at home with family, decide you're going to go casual for a change. We love it, and I don't ever intend to change that. Here's really the thing about the holidays. The holidays, while traditions are great, while giving gifts and receiving them is nice, we enjoy it, they're really about spending time with those that you love and care for the most, and then any religious events that you want to celebrate and commemorate. It is about that time of year. It's not about the money that you spent, how many gifts were under a tree, how fancy and expensive the dinner was. It's not about those things. It's about love, quality, and family. And sometimes the best thing that we can do for family and for those we care for the most is to acknowledge their feelings and their situations, especially during rough years, and to respect the choices that they need and want to make. And then the absolute best gift of all is to give them the dignity of their choices. During this holiday season, I hope that you and your family are able to spend joyful time together, because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about.